We just purchased acreage with my parents, so here's all the conversations we had to have before signing any contracts. So this is actually way before even signing a contract. This is before we even looked at properties. My parents brought the idea to us and were like, hey, what do you think about it? And with that had to come a lot of conversations. We get along really well with my parents, so it was never a flat out no. It was more of a case of, it would be amazing, but all of those buts were the non-negotiables. So when you're bringing two separate families together, there's actually a lot of boxes that you have to tick, and not just in relation to what you need and want from the property and the house, but in relation to, do our non-negotiables all align, or are there going to be problems? So our non-negotiables, for example, we spoke about location. For Jesse, it had to be easy access to the M1 to either go north or south, because he's a carpenter. He's not office-based. He is everywhere. Also, non-negotiables for us were things like the house. We weren't going to move from this house to go to an equivalent or smaller. The house had to be an upgrade in terms of size and space. Also, things like privacy. That was a massive thing for us. One of our non-negotiables was we cannot be living on top of each other or in each other's pockets. It's nice to be close to one another, but we still need to have our privacy and separate lives. We're not bringing everything together day to day. We also had to have a lot of talks about like future plans. So if we're going to be going all in on this, we can't in a year or two time turn around and go, nah, we're done, we're out. We are making a commitment of minimum 5 years. If someone wants to sell, we all have to sell because we can't afford to buy each other out. There's actually a lot of logistics to work out. When it comes time to selling the property, the profit is based off of the percentage that we have all put in terms of the money on the purchase. If we add a pool to our side of the property, then how does that get split when the sale goes through? So it's all things like that. So yeah, long story short is it wasn't just, oh yeah, sounds cool, let's do it. There are actually a lot of logistics to work out, which brings me to number 2 is another hard conversation was boundaries. We have to have boundaries, and we have to be okay with hearing boundaries and setting boundaries. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to want your own space and time. My parents are allowed to say, no, I don't want the kids over right now. I'm allowed to be like, hey, no, we're actually having a family night, whatever it is. And I feel like that's something that we actually do really well with my family. We communicate really well. We talk all day, every day as it is. But in terms of boundaries, no one gets offended. And I really believe strongly that it'll be the main thing that'll either make this situation like make or break. With that too, another conversation was, all right, well, if we do something that offends you or upsets you, or we're overstepping a boundary or a line and not realizing it, speak up, because we don't want to live on a property where tension and all of that build between us, and to just sit down and hash it out, because otherwise it could honestly be a recipe for disaster if you're not just open and honest with one another. That is my 2 first points for now. I might make this into a little series. In saying that, if there's anything that you guys are interested in that I haven't covered or that you want to know, ask the questions and I'll do my best to answer them.